Hello, welcome back to Up the Villa. This is our match preview for Brighton v Aston Villa. Oh, we've got to get one thing sorted first. Fan cams, a lot of questions saying that I'm really small. Can we just confirm your height just for the audience that we're watching?
Yeah, I'm about 6'6", 6'7".
I mean, so it was kind of like Peter Crouch and I don't know, Buendia on the fan cams, weren't it? So yeah, I was getting ripped, to be fair. Everyone was calling me short. I'm like, I'm not having this. So clarification there that Earl is an actual giant in real life. So anyway, how you doing?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Games are coming thick and fast, aren't they?
They are. And I was actually like thinking about this earlier, thinking, hold on a minute, how many games have we got in this week? And it's actual 3 games in 7 days, which this is proper English football, isn't it? This is when it starts to get serious, when you've got the games, not much time to recover. And, you think about the players and you think, okay, so we played on Sunday. Monday would probably have been a recovery / light gym session, little bit on the grass on Tuesday, bit of tactical, and then straight out to go to Brighton. So, not much time, not much turnaround. And I think it shows that what Aston Villa have got to do is utilise this really good squad that we've got and have a little bit of rotation. Because I think as much as Emery and we all look at it and go, this game's the priority, the one that's coming up, you have still kind of got to have in the back of your mind the Arsenal game, because you've only got 2 days and you're playing again. So you're in the same situation where there's not much time on the training ground. You've got to utilise your squad to the best of your ability. So sort of, how are you feeling about Villa going into this game and the Arsenal game?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what we do, isn't it? I'm expecting, we're going to have to see some rotation. I'm guessing so. See some depth of the squad, hopefully. Yeah, and it's tough games, but they're all tough games, aren't they? So
You've been watching my YouTube shorts.
yeah, I enjoyed that one.
One other little thing that sometimes pops up, and I'd like to get your thoughts on this, because I actually don't agree with this take, is that start strong and then rotate your team. How do you feel about that one?
Well, there are pros and cons, aren't they? Aren't they really? I mean, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I mean, if you can go in from the start with a team that you know is going to win, then I'm all for that. But if it ends up, you don't go 2 or 3 goals ahead, but sometimes you might expect, and then you don't end up getting that rotation anyway. Yeah, so it's a bit of a double-edged sword, but just win is my view.
And I kind of do think there will be. I can see one player coming straight in, and we'll get into that in a second. But it's someone like Onana. So
Yeah.
I do think Onana will come into this one. I think he suits playing against Brighton anyway, and I think that will enable somebody else to come out the team, because I imagine that this other player is going to play on Saturday. So I think it's like that combination. I don't think there's going to be like 6 or 7 changes like what we see in the Europa, but I think it's going to be 1 or 2 to just make sure we are really fresh. And I look at Brighton and I think, okay, no European football this season. This is going to be a little bit of a test of their squad and what they do. Can they keep going game on game and not rotating, or will they make a little bit of a rotation? Because 3 games in 7 days pretty much for everybody. I think it's going to be a challenge for them. I think Hertzler's already sort of talking about Rutter, and he's having to go through a protocol to see whether he's fit and available. So maybe he plays, maybe he doesn't. But I just think it's really important that we get this right, because again, like the run of games that we're on now, I think I'm not about the importance of who they are. I look at it and think it's the amount of games in those days, which is quite important to be able to manage. So, what are your thoughts on Brighton then? Doing really well. Hertzler's got them right up there, playing really well. It feels like we're their sort of kryptonite a little bit, and we suit playing against them. And we'll get into the tactical elements in a second. But what are your overall thoughts on Brighton?
Yeah, they're having a good season. They're always a decent side, aren't they? Brighton? But yeah, always recruit very well, I feel like, and yeah, they seem to be having a decent start to the season. I think maybe ever so slightly different to previous years. I think, in the past they've kind of averaged like 60% possession, very possession focused team, but maybe slightly different this season, a bit less possession, I think. But yeah, on the whole, I think they're quite an impressive side, impressive club, to be fair.
Yeah, they remind me of a team that when it's ticking, they are very, very good. But if you can do things to stop it from functioning, like what Emery likes to do, then you can pose them massive problems. I remember when I was analysing Leeds and I went and had a look at some of their games and I watched parts of that game and I thought they were just steamrolled straight through Leeds United. And it was just that sort of case, like everything was perfect, high intensity, creating lots of chances, and Leeds just couldn't really lay a glove on them, really. So we are going to have a little look then at XG Stats, who are powering up the Villa at the moment then, and we'll just have a little run through of some of the things that they are doing really well. They've scored 21 goals, which is the fourth highest. They've got an XG of 18.04. They've conceded 16 goals with an XG of 17.87. Their home form has a 67% rating. Away form is at 29. So you can probably kind of get a little bit of a tale of where they need to improve. Probably a little bit like Villa. Make sure that away form is very, very good. 88% of their formation is a 4-2-3-1. We can see from their general profile that possession based, like what Earl's mentioned, they're edging towards the centre a little bit. So Earl's done his research well there. Low block, they're in not a low block, but they are edging towards the centre there as well. So a bit of both. Central play, they are heavily focused on playing central. You can see that wide play is on the right. Technical quality is pretty high, which is something that I would say epitomises Hertzler and a Brighton team. Physical dominance, you've got recoveries and counter pressing, and you've got pressing intensity, which is all quite high. This is really important because I think what you can see is their shape when they're playing it from the back. They are heavily pushing more towards that right-hand side. Their build-up drifts towards the right-hand side when they get into that progressive phase. And you can see when they're in the final third, they commit a lot of plays forward, right back, left back, heavily involved, centre-forward, attacking midfielder, the two central midfielders, and they generally make up that back two shape. Welbeck is their top scorer. And then you've got some of the other little stats there. Welbeck's their penalty taker. Ayari is their free kick taker. This graphic I quite like because it shows the average metrics per game and with the minutes. And you can see that their touches in the opposition box is virtually highest in the league, which is really cool. You can see ball recoveries very high, interceptions really high. You can kind of see what they're all about. They want to win the ball back high up the pitch. There's a lot of recoveries in there, and they like to be pretty dominant. Now, if we go on this little section here, we can actually see the average positions for the games that they've recently played. So here, if I just refresh it, here we've got the game against Brighton, and you can see that they are getting into that 2-4-4 shape. The game against Brentford, pretty similar, but you can see that they're dropping some players in and around, so they're making up a three in the middle, which I think is cool. They are also against Palace. They've got that 2-4-4. So the general 2-4-4 is their general shape. But what else we can do, we can have a look here and we can go on heat maps and we can see where individual players like to do a lot of their work. So we've got Hecker and we've got Dunker with the two centre halves. So we know that they're going to be with that two at the back. Well, let's take a look at Rutter. And Rutter's position, the attacking midfielder, likes to drift towards that right-hand side. You saw it quite a lot with some of the average positions and the passing networks. Balaba's kind of been in and out of their team. Let's have a little look at where Welbeck's picking up the ball. So he's dropping deeper, but he's attacking, sort of box, crashing the box as well. We've got Matoma on that left-hand side. So pretty good, Brighton. What are your thoughts on some of that, Earl?
Yeah, I think XG stat looks great, by the way. I love a bit of stats and data, so yeah, loving that. But yeah, I think the big ones for me were the central attacking, and then the number of players that they commit forward as well, and how high they get up the pitch. We've seen, especially in the past when we've played against them, we've had a lot of joy. Hitting them on the counter, going straight over the top, directs, down the wings. I think it was the 3-0 away last season as well. We saw that, a few goals. I think Rashford scored off one of their corners and we braked on them. There was another goal, I think it was Asensio maybe, where we attacked quickly, Cash over the top down to Rodgers, down the right-hand side. So I think there's definitely ways we can look to hurt them again, because it's similar sort of play style from them, very central, committed numbers forward, knocking the ball around. But when we do win it back, I think we can definitely hurt them with the players that we've had. Marlon being in form as well.
Yeah, absolutely spot on, Earl. I think that analysis is pretty much bang on of what we need to do against them, really. So let's have a little look then and predict the Villa lineup then. I think 3 of them are pretty much nailed on. So the 3 nailed on are these 3. I do think we could go with Maatsen, but I just think how heavily reliant they are and focusing more down that right-hand side, our left, kind of veers me towards Digne. But I just feel like, do we need to rotate for this one? I think with the game coming up on Saturday, it's a position where we've got an option to do so. So does it make sense to do so? What are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, I could go with either of them. To be fair, I'm fairly comfortable with either or. But yeah, I think with the Arsenal game in mind as well, would you rather have Digne against Arsenal?
I think so. Against Saka.
I think so. Yeah. So I think for this game, I'd probably lean towards Maatsen then for that reason. I don't think, with Dean playing on the weekend as well, I don't think he's going to play all 3 games in a row. So yeah, I think if I'm going to pick one for Maatsen, it would be this one.
Yeah, I think I do think I agree with that. I was thinking, does he give Maatsen like a real big game against Arsenal? One to go and pocket Saka, as difficult as it could possibly be. Like, it could be one of those managerial ones where you really want the player to really step up. So I could see that, but I think he goes safer. I think that's what he do. So I think we could go with Maatsen. I agree with that. So next up, we've got midfield, and I think Boubacar Kamara definitely plays. Do you think he definitely plays?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so we agree on that. And I think Onana definitely plays. Do you agree with that?
Not definitely, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna say why, because I think it's important. I think Kamara, Onana, and Tielemans play against Arsenal.
Yeah, I think
I,
so.
I think he goes to that PSG. You know, when he did that, and it was, I called that, to be honest. I said that's what I'd do, and he did it, and it worked, because I just think against Arsenal, you're going to need presence. You've got to dislodge Zubimendi and Declan Rice. You've got to compete there. And I think having the three, and it's not going to be like a flat three, you're going to have Tielemans off the striker and dropping in and making up that midfield three. I think that's important. So I think Tielemans has looked okay so far. I think he's got levels to get to. I think he's still trying to get up to full speed. Did you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So that's kind of what I'd go with in there. The other definite then, so this match preview is brought to you by Definites. The definite on the right wing is going to be John McGinn. I think McGinn has to play. Like, he's got to play. But then he could go Gesson, but I don't think he will. Do you think he goes McGinn?
I think he will go McGinn. I did think about Gesson as well. I just think this could be a good game for Gesson, to be honest. A lot of space in behind is what I'm thinking. I think Gesson makes some very good runs in behind, and I think he could get in behind them. It's just what he does once he's in behind, I think, is a bit questionable right now. But I think there will be space for him in this game. And if he can take a chance, get his confidence up, then it'd be all good for us. But you just can't go without McGinn, I think, and the players I've got in the other positions means I need McGinn here on the right. So I did think about Gesson. I think we will see him because, again, McGinn will play against Arsenal as well. So I think we will see Gesson play in this game, but maybe not from the start.
I think these two games that are coming up, it's very important that we all have. Well, we have to trust them. Emery has to trust them. Teammates have to trust each other. But it's important that we trust ourselves on the ball and look after the ball, because there are two teams that we're playing. Brighton, who press high. So you cannot lose the ball in and around your own box in danger areas that the opposition break on you, and we're all out of shape. I feel like with Gesson, do I trust him to keep looking after the ball but also be quite positive? I don't think I'm there. Do you know what I mean? And
yeah.
We just can't allow it. And the fact that it's an away game, we've just got to be very, very good, very tidy, very tight. And that's how we've been doing well against Brighton away. We have a solid foundation. We grow into the games. We create problems. We are quite clinical, and we get the job done. Having the opposition sort of like huff and puff around us, and sometimes look a bit flimsy at times. That's how we seem to do really well. So I actually feel like there's going to be a start for Jadon Sancho. Earl, I've got a funny feeling that Sancho might start this game, and I think, again, you've spoke about sort of running in behind, etc. Watkins stretching, generally plays quite good against Brighton. And then I'm sort of like, well, it could be Marlon, etc. It could be Buendia. But I feel like we might throw a bit of a curveball in this and go with something that we don't expect. What are your thoughts?
It's an interesting one. So I had gone with Rodgers on the left instead of Sancho, and I'd gone with Marlon and Watkins together. That's how I'd gone, just for the purpose of getting in behind, like we talked about, both having the two runners of Watkins and Marlon. I feel like Rodgers gets a bit more involved when he's a bit deeper rather than in the 10. I think he's definitely going to play Rodgers, so he's a definite wherever he's going to be. And I feel like Marlon plays a bit better when he's with Watkins rather than leading the line himself. You know, you can say what you want about Watkins' performance this season, but I do think Marlon plays better when he's with Watkins. So that's how I would go. Sancho's an interesting one though. He's got to start taking his chances, hasn't he?
Yeah,
literally in front of
yeah,
but chances.
yeah, yeah. He has. The reason why I've gone with Sancho is I think you're always going to get passing accuracy. You're always going to get high 90s, looks after the ball. I'm looking at Buendia at the minute, and I'm a bit. Are we reverting back to a bit of Buendia that we have been accustomed to? You know, pitch opens up, driving at the opposition, the pass doesn't come off. You know, and I think we need to be utilising the ball quite a lot, because I think, yes, XG is quite low, but when you're getting into some real good opportunities and you're not making that final pass, which then could create a chance, I think that's where I'm at. So here's one I did earlier. So I actually left that position for us to finally decide. So I actually do like your shout with Marlon and Watkins. Obviously, they can stretch quite nicely, and we know that they're going to get into that sort of shape where it's leaving, I don't know, two at the back. And I think when teams do that against Villa, we were very good at being able to pin and stretch and that ball over the top, and we've exploited that numerous times. And I think when Emery sort of got that canvas to work with and he can see a weakness in a team, he's actually really good at sort of like finding the massive weakness. And we do know that that they have got a two in the middle, so if we can kind of create those little overloads with McGinn dropping in there as well and sort of boxing them in, etc., winning that battle in central midfield, I think it's going to be really important. But again, you've got to defend really well in the wide areas. You've got to make sure you're shutting out Danny Welbeck and shutting out Rutter at the same time. So I think it's going to be a real interesting tactical battle. And I think it's one of them games where if Villa can win this, going into the Arsenal game, we are primed to cause some sort of upset on Saturday. So do you want to add any like final thoughts on the game?
Yeah, I know we've spoken about Arsenal a lot, but it is obviously a big game against Brighton, and it's another chance to solidify our position, I guess, at the top of the table. And like you say, if we get through Brighton and can win that game, then it's 6 wins in a row. And like you say, we're looking in excellent form going into that Arsenal game. And then if we can win that one as well, then dare I say, title race.
Well, if we beat Brighton, we're 5 points clear of Brighton, so we're adding a bit of a gap to them as well, which I think is really important. So yeah, I think it's going to be a tight game. I think it's going to be very close, and it's just about whether we maintain the level that we maintain, and that's where I feel like just a few little. I mean, our team there, we'd have 3 changes, so I think that's generally good rotation for this game. So, Villa fans, let us know your thoughts. Let us know the lineup that you would go with. Do you think we should rotate, or do you think just stick to the same team and keep going with it? So, let us know your thoughts. Up the Villa.